We see everything that's going wrong with the world and those who lead it. We just feel like we don't have the means to rise above and feed.
People around this state are recognizing the work that you are doing. That's a good thing. Continue the work that you have ahead of you. Today's awards luncheon, what a time to celebrate your work. It is an exciting time, and the people that come across the stage to see the pride that they have in the work that they do. I go back to something that Dan Bournet said a few minutes ago. I remember every teacher, but you don't always remember the president. You remember the teachers. I want to pause for a second and ask every faculty member in this room to please stand. You know, we aren't always able to compensate you in the way that we know that we should, we would like to. But I also recognize that you're not folks that are driven by the dollar. You're driven by something much more intrinsic, and that is the interface with students, the ability to impact lives. It is so much a core part of our mission, and thank you for what you do every single day. Today's session wraps up with the State of the System address. The state of the system, where are we? How are things going for us? What's happened in the last year? And where are we going in the year ahead, or the years ahead? I want to reflect a little bit on last year's State of the System. You know, we had an opportunity for a little bit of discussion. For some of you, it was the first introduction for me to you. And I spent some time talking with you about the passion that I have for community and technical colleges and for the mission that we serve every day. And you'll recall that I hearkened back to the story of my dad's experience at the University of Epps. I know I'm going to hear a shout out from Sharon Bowman any minute somewhere out there, right? We also had an opportunity to reflect on what is, to me, a very meaningful scripture from Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so too shall men sharpen men. It is the heart and soul of what we do in the community and technical colleges, sharpening people to be successful in life, sharpening people to develop a career, to be able to provide for their families. Proverbs 27:17. I want you to remember that. We'll come back to it in a few minutes. I think you got a sense of my passion for community and technical colleges. A passion that says get up every single day and run to work. Do every bit of work that you can in that day to improve the lives of the people of this great state. In a second, we'll talk about the path forward, the plan forward. And there's a key word in that plan. It's our. It belongs to you. It belongs to me. I want to come back to that as well. But last year in the State of the System, we had four sort of pillars, if you will. Those pillars were people. You heard me say it several times. People matter. People matter. Number two, business partnerships. Because our partnerships with industry, they're the foundation, they're the lifeblood of our institutions and our programs. Innovations, doing things differently, better than ever before. And then finally, all of those with one core purpose, to strengthen the communities where you live and I live, to make Louisiana a better place, to provide opportunities for the people of this great state. Today, I want to recount a few of the commitments and discussions that we had last year, and I want to point out to you the things that we've done throughout the last year. Number one, people matter. This Board of Supervisors, in one of the very first conversations that I had with them as president, they looked at me and they said, we once had one of the nation's best leadership development institutes. We want you to reinstitute it. And we did. Today we have the Louisiana Leadership Academy with the inaugural class in the room today. Would that group please stand up? How about a round of applause? That's an investment in the people of this system. That's an investment in the people that will make the difference for Louisiana going forward. And while we may not have been able to increase salaries across the board, we also did something very important to you as employees and to your family members. We provided tuition assistance policies. Tuition assistance policies that give you the opportunity to attend institutions to earn higher level degrees, investing in yourself. How could we be in the business that we're in of improving people's lives, educating and training individuals, if we ourselves don't have policy that invests in people. Today we have a tuition assistance program for employees, a tuition assistance program for your dependents. That's a huge step forward, again, in investing in people. Underscore that with, once again, people matter. Business partnerships, unprecedented level of business partnerships. Not only did you have that displayed here on the stage yesterday, but you also have seen it as your institutions have raised over $34 million this past year from industry partnerships. Industry partners who are thirsty for the workforce of tomorrow. J.P. Morgan Chase, Praxair, CB&I, Bentler Steel, GE Capital, Sasol. I could go on for an hour naming the companies who have made contributions to our institutions. Financial contributions, contributions of time, contributions of equipment. I want you to think about why those companies are making the investments they're making. Because they value the work that you're doing. It is important to their institutions, their organizations. They are investing in you because they believe in the job that you're doing. With over $34 million raised toward our Act 360 projects, also dollars raised toward the WISE Match, industry is coming to us now and saying we need more. But let me tell you why. I believe the reason that they are asking the question, how do we invest? Tom Ura yesterday made the comment that when he first met Dale Doty, he sat down with Dale, and Dale asked him a very simple question. He said, what is it that BASF needs from River Parishes Community College? Dale Doty didn't walk in with an ask. He didn't walk in to say, we need $1 million. We need $500,000 worth of equipment. It wasn't about the institution. It was instead about the needs of BASF. And so Tom said yesterday, after he asked the question, what did he do? He paused. Silence. We have to stop selling what we have and begin to ask the question, what is it that you need? Industry will tell us what their needs are. We need their help in that way. The list of partners are extraordinary. The organizations that are coming to us and making those opportunities known, I've never seen anything like it. It places a huge spotlight on the work that you do and I do. But here's one of the concerns that I have. For some of us, we hear workforce, we hear industry relationships, industry partnerships, and we think that that might not pertain to history or English or math. Think again. Does it ever? Absolutely. Yesterday on the same stage, we heard business partners say, we have 4 big issues. One of those is basic academic ability. Another of those is the ability to communicate. We cannot afford to be a collection of colleges that has a different definition of workforce at every college. Workforce is everything we do, from the general education classrooms to the ESL classrooms to the welding labs. Workforce is what we do. It's core to us. It is in our DNA. And let me tell you, more importantly, I believe workforce happens to be, not just in Louisiana, but in this nation. It is the issue of our time. Many generations have faced major issues. Our issue is the ability to educate, train, and skill people to participate in the economy. The middle class of this nation is what separates us from the rest of the world. Some of you have had an opportunity to travel to other nations. I'll never forget reading the passages on India, a nation with a substantial lower class, an elite class, and not much in the middle. In this nation, one of the things that has separated us has been the middle class. You, every single day, educate and train the people who will populate the middle class of this nation. You will change the face of Louisiana, of your communities, and ultimately of this nation. In your classrooms, doing what you do. It's an exciting time to be in the community college world. The next innovation. Let me tell you, our business is no longer such that we can do more of what we've done before. Our business today is instead about how we repackage, about how we rethink, how we resell what we do. A great example, to our friends at Sewella Technical Community College. How about a hand for those folks? Sewella Technical Community College. I guess it must have been 6, 8 months ago. We have a college here who has extraordinary workforce demands. If you haven't been to Lake Charles, folks, take a drive. Take a drive and go to Lake Charles. It is a different place than it was 10 years ago. It is a different place. Traffic is different. The retail opportunities are different. The housing market's different. The job market is different. Everything about that community is all abuzz. Why is it a buzz? Because people are investing in that community. Major billions of dollars of investments. Swella Technical Community College sits down with an organization. Once again, Chancellor Aspinwall asks the question, what do you need? And as he pauses, their response is, we need you to double the number of process operators. Double the number of process operators produced at Swella Technical Community College. And I'm sure as he swallowed hard, he said, okay, we'll go back to the college and we'll have that discussion. And when he went back to the college, guess what he found? What he found was, here's a P-Tech program that's as productive as any in the state. But as he drilled down a layer deeper, he found that those students who were making application to the P-Tech program, 40% were people who held a bachelor's degree already. People that you and I consider to be college educated already. And so they began to develop a strategy around how they repackage process technology. They did so by eliminating the general education requirement because these folks have already completed general education. They began to market the program in a 16-week block from 8 in the morning till 4:30 in the afternoon. The requirement, if you're going to be a part of this program, you got to be there every day. You got to show up. You got to be ready to learn. 18 students enrolled. 16 weeks later, 18 students finish. Did you hear me? 18 students finish. Now, there are folks around this nation, when we have policy discussions, they ask the question, why is the graduation rate so low in community and technical colleges? Is 100% low? No. The reason is because those students were motivated to finish a degree. They were motivated because they knew there was a job waiting at the end. There was an opportunity for they and their family at the end. Our challenge is, our graduation rate challenge centers on the notion of what we offer. If I'm a student enrolled in general studies, it's tough for me to get up in the morning and get excited about general studies. It's tough for me to get up in the morning and get excited about a program that has an unknown outcome in terms of my job future. It's tough for me to get up in the morning and run to school knowing that I'm not certain what may happen. Because remember, for most of our students, life has a very thin margin. There is not much cushion for our students. Oftentimes, our students are the ones who are choosing between paying for textbooks or putting tires on the car. That's the reality of our students. And so, I ask you, as you begin to think about the programs that you offer every day, innovate, innovate, innovate. Short sessions, opportunities to get in and get out. Give students those opportunities to gain the skills necessary to do business in this economy, get out and make a living for their family. The folks at Swella Technical Community College not only did such a great job of graduating 18 of those students, they all go to work right there in the Lake Charles market, benefiting the local economy, ultimately benefiting families right there in Lake Charles. That's the innovation. So the question we have now is, how do we scale? We scale very simply by taking that example and replicating it at places all over the state. Louisiana Delta, River Parishes Community College, South Central Louisiana Technical College, Nunez Community College. Institutions having an opportunity to take an innovation and replicate it with their own twist, ultimately driving over 200 new process operators into the market within the year at $70,000 a year. Do the math for a second. We have the ability to fundamentally change the face of Louisiana, one student at a time. But it will require that we innovate in a way that we've never done before. The next, strengthening our communities. Folks, I have a chance to travel the state. It is truly one of the pleasures of this job to travel the state and to see the impact that is going on within our institutions, from Lake Providence to Lake Charles, from Metairie to Minden, even Alexandria. All of those places around this state. So excited to have a chance to see what is going on within those communities. You go to groundbreakings in places like Gonzales and Sorrento, and you see the excitement that people have for what you are doing in their communities. There's never been a better time to be where we are today. We're having a huge impact. A year later, I say to you that our core principles are the same. It's about people. It's about innovations. It is about partnerships. And it's also about changing communities. So I want to talk to you a little bit more about what you're doing at your individual institutions. And I'm going to admit something to you. All of us have flaws. All of us have faults. Our chancellors will laugh at this one. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to introduce 3 former governors. I've never been in the same room with 3 former governors. I have to admit that. I was pretty fired up. Along the way, as I'm flipping through the pages, what do I find but a page that I skipped? And the page had a collection of chancellors on it. And so I was ribbed a little bit about missing a list of chancellors. So today, you know what we're going to do? You're going to help me? We're going to call them out. So as we go through this group, I want you to help me rattle the roof a little bit for me, okay? Let me start with Baton Rouge Community College. Chancellor Andrea Miller. Stand up for me, Andrea. There we are. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on at Baton Rouge Community College. Just one simple example. Dow Chemical makes an investment at Baton Rouge Community College in what? Women in welding. What? Women in welding? I didn't know ladies welded, right? Let me tell you what. You know what employers will tell you? I'd rather have a female welder every day of the week over the guys, right? Baton Rouge Community College being responsive to industry markets, Dow Chemical making an investment, women in welding represents opportunities for women and it represents opportunities for families putting food on the table. What a great partnership. Thank you, Dr. Miller. Next chancellor, the interim chancellor of Bossier Parish Community College, Dr. Rick Bateman. Where are you, Dr. Bateman? Right here in the front. I'll spare you the UT Austin joke that we always have to use with Rick Bateman, but that's okay. Let me tell you about what's going on at Bossier Parish Community College. One of the most exciting efforts, not just in Louisiana, but nationally. People from around the nation are looking at Bossier Parish Community College right now because of a relationship that's developed between Bossier Parish Community College and Bentler Steel. You've all heard of the announcement, the Bentler Steel announcement, bringing thousands of jobs to Northwest Louisiana. What the college has been able to accomplish is a $22 million advanced technology manufacturing and engineering facility right there on the Bossier Parish Community College campus, training thousands of potential employees and future employees for Bentler Steel. Congratulations to the folks at Bossier and to you, Dr. Bateman. Great work. Next, we got to look all the way to the other side of the room, the man on the music box. Acting Chancellor of Central Louisiana Technical Community College, Mr. Jimmy Sawtelle. Well, I tell you what, that's a good spotlight, Jimmy. He's catching you all the way over there. Jimmy Sawtelle, you know, folks, I want you to think about this. Pineville, Louisiana. Pineville, Louisiana. Last Wednesday, an announcement from LED with the governor, with everybody there, of a $2.4 billion investment in Pineville, Louisiana. 1,450 direct jobs by a company called American Specialty Alloys. The first aluminum roll company, not just in the history of this state, but in our nation, built in Pineville, Louisiana. 1,450 jobs at an average wage of $70,000 a year. And right there front and center is Central Louisiana Technical Community College, making sure that we have the employees that we need to make that adventure successful for everyone. Thank you for your work, Jimmy. Next, the folks at Delgado got to come out of the chairs on this one. We have with us Chancellor Joan Davis. They've all recovered from Mardi Gras, right? Very good. Delgado Community College received a $1.5 million grant from the GE Foundation to support continued training for the Sewage and Water Board of New Orleans. I want you to think of this for a second. The Sewage and Water Board in New Orleans 2 years ago, 80% of the water produced in the city of New Orleans was lost. I want you to think of that. Think of any production process you can imagine, be it manufacturing, be it water, whatever the case. 80% was lost in the city of New Orleans. But as a result of the training that has gone on at Delgado Community College, the investments made by folks like GE, we now have employees in the Sewage and Water Board that are trained. We have new infrastructure in place. We're seeing a city that today is more productive than ever before. And now that ratio has flipped. 20% of the water is lost today. What a huge investment Delgado Community College is making in the people of the city of New Orleans, fundamentally changing a city that we all know and love. Thank you, Dr. Davis. Next, we have a utility player. Here's a guy that serves in dual roles. Interim Chancellor of Fletcher Technical Community College and Director of South Central Louisiana Technical College, Mr. Earl Metter. You know, I think it's interesting that Mr. Metter was insistent that we put these two issues together for these two institutions. I want to thank the people of Fletcher Technical Community College and South Central Louisiana Technical College for your willingness to sit together and solve the problems of the people of your region. That hasn't always been an easy discussion for us. You've done it, and you deserve a round of applause for it. Thank you. As one example, these two institutions are working together to form a maritime and oil and gas programs to train over 10,000 people in the maritime industry over the next 5 years. If you don't know the maritime industry, let me tell you, 45% of Louisiana's jobs are tied directly or indirectly back to the maritime industry. You don't see it because you don't travel by water. 45% of Louisiana's jobs. I want you to think of that for a second. So it's not just that the folks down the bayou need to be focused on maritime. It's everyone. If you touch a body of water, and all of our colleges do, you need to be thinking maritime. Thank you for the work going on at South Central Louisiana Technical College and Fletcher Technical Community College. Next, from Louisiana Delta Community College, Chancellor Barbara Hanson. Louisiana Delta Community College started the state's only Police Officer Standards and Training Council program. Now, let's think about it for a second. Who do you call? Who do you call when you're in trouble? You hope you call someone who has a background and an ability to be able to deliver when you need police officers. What's going on at Louisiana Delta Community College, 159 graduates since the program began with a 98% pass rate on national exams. That is quality instruction. Great job to the folks at Louisiana Delta. Next, from North Shore Technical Community College, Chancellor William Wainwright. By the way, I can't help myself, Chancellor Wainwright, I have to announce to the group here today that this past week, Chancellor Wainwright was awarded a very special recognition from the St. Tammany Parish Economic Development Organization in a ceremony alongside 3 major organizations, companies, who were given accolades for their innovation, for their entrepreneurship. Chancellor Wainwright was recognized as the St. Tammany Parish Innovator of the Year. How about a round of applause for him? This past year, among many contributions at North Shore Technical Community College, the college was successful in raising $1.8 million to secure the Act 360 match for the STEM campus to be located just outside Slidell. Congratulations to the folks at North Shore Technical Community College. Next up, a guy you've seen before, Dr. Rick Bateman, Director of Northwest Louisiana Technical College. Another guy that's pulling double duty for us. Northwest Louisiana Technical College signed an articulation agreement. And you know, articulation agreements aren't always a big splash, but let me tell you about this one. This one's important. Northwest Louisiana Technical College, we've spent a career, many of us, trying to convince people that the instruction that goes on within our technical campuses and our technical colleges is worthy of college credit. Let's just be honest. That's been one of those points of emphasis that we have struggled with. What this college has done is taken a certification that is the manufacturing certification developed by our friends at LED and LED Fast Start, along with industry, the C4M curriculum. Developed it, implemented it, and then turned to our friends at Northwestern State University, and they said, what do you think about the college credit that this should award? An articulation agreement that takes that C4M certificate earned at Northwest Louisiana Technical College and grants college credit at Northwestern State University. That's a huge step forward, not just for Northwest Louisiana Technical College, but for everyone in this room and for the people of Louisiana. Great work. Next, we have Chancellor Tommy Warner. Coach, rise. I almost have to bow when I see this guy in the audience. I think the world of him. Nunez Community College signs a historic articulation agreement with the University of New Orleans in business administration. Now, we all know if you've spent much time around articulation, business administration is a tough area because many times our university partners will say to us, well, the accrediting body for business programs, they really don't allow us to accept your courses that we teach at the junior level. What Nunez Community College was able to do in conjunction with University of New Orleans is bring those students into Nunez and show them a clear, articulated path from Chalmette to the lakefront. That's a huge step forward for the people of Louisiana. Thank you, Coach. Next, we have a gentleman that we've already discussed a few minutes ago, so I may move through this one quickly. I think Tom Muro deserves all of the credit from yesterday. Chancellor Dale Doty. I want to share with you the time frame of this one. This is what's really important. River Parishes Community College raised $1 million in match for their Act 360 project, for their technical training center. Here's the kicker, they did it in 9 months. 9 months, and not one single donor. Over 30 donors contributed to this project. It's extraordinary buy-in and support. And so when we get together for the groundbreaking down at River Parishes on a rainy, rainy day, the staff did an excellent job of presenting the groundbreaking in a way that represented the interest and the willingness to commit of over 30 companies. Thank you, Dr. Doty. Representing Chancellor Harder, who could not be with us tonight, is Brian Glatter. Brian, would you please stand? How about a round for Brian? Another example of a college that has raised substantial resources, $2.1 million raised around the Health and Sciences building, the South Louisiana Community College. Here's what's interesting about this one. Yes, it's a big number. $2.1 million is a tough number to raise. But let me tell you, they raised it from the 3 health systems that represent all of Lafayette's community, the entire region. You're able to bring together employers across sectors. That is a big step forward and shows buy-in from the community. Congratulations. And finally, the 13 wouldn't be complete without Chancellor Neil Aspinwall from Swella Technical Community College. Let me tell you, these guys may have, or Chancellor Aspinwall may have that long Georgia accent, but let me tell you this, while he talks a little slow, there's not much grass that grows under this guy's feet. He is running as quickly as he can. What a great leader for Swella Technical Community College and a great leader to have in our system. We're very proud of what you have brought to Southwest Louisiana. In a huge accomplishment, monumental, to take an institution from no SACS accreditation to complete SACS accreditation. They were able to accomplish it. A great deal of work by faculty and staff at Swella Technical Community College. Thank you for all of your work. Now, let me say to you, let's kind of put all of that together for just 1 second. How about a round of applause for all that you are doing out there in our community and technical colleges? That's sort of what's happening within our institutions, but let's talk about the external environment for a second that may be impacting that. You know, we happen to live in a state where the economy is outpacing the southern average, the national average. The numbers are extraordinary. We're creating more businesses than anyone in the South, with the exception of Texas. We are driving more jobs to Louisiana than most states in the Union. While others are seeing jobs retract, Louisiana is seeing expansion. But we're not just seeing expansion in oil and gas and the typical kinds of places we've seen before. We're seeing expansion in computer science fields that we never thought would happen before. GE Capital locating in New Orleans, IBM locating just down the way here in Baton Rouge. CSC in places like Acadiana and Shreveport. We're seeing extraordinary investments. CenturyLink in the northeast part of the state, along with IBM that has just been announced. All of those are reasons for us to be excited about this place that we call home. The benefit is huge. The benefit not just for our institutions, but the benefit for our people. Can you imagine another place that you'd like to live today than the great state of Louisiana? I can't. This is where I want to be. This is my home. I want to see my people, your people, participate in that economy. We've talked about the Bentler Steels. We've talked about the Sasols. All of these people are investing in Louisiana now. It makes our job more important than ever before. We have to perform. We have to perform. Now, some would say, with all of that economic growth, what's this story about the budget? What's going on with the budget? We'll come to that in just one second. Instead of talking about the budget, you know what I enjoy talking about? The work that you're doing. This past year, over 110,000 credit enrollments in our institutions. 110,000 credit enrollments. How about a hand for you? That's a great accomplishment. But it's not only 110,000 students showing up at our doorstep on the front side. It's the fact that we not only have record enrollments in the numbers of students who are attending our institutions, but record numbers of students completing at our institutions. More than doubled in the last 7 years. 20,000 students this past year completed a college education with you and with me. 20,000 people walked across the stage with their lives forever changed because of the work that you're doing. The reality is, today Louisiana is in a better position because of the work that you have done. We're receiving recognition from all fronts. In the construction arena, the Construction Users Roundtable, a national organization, recognized the work of all 13 colleges by awarding Louisiana's community and technical colleges the National Award of Education Excellence, a trophy about this tall. It looks like the Heisman Trophy. It's not the trophy that matters, folks. It's the fact that externally people view the work that you are doing as valuable. Organizations, companies writing checks, organizations like Construction Users Roundtable, recognizing your work and calling it out nationally and saying it is a best practice. We've got great things going on in this state. I want to scroll back with you to the beginning of my career at two-year colleges. And I want to tell you that I can remember going to the first two-year college that I ever worked as a part of. I can remember stopping and asking the question, where is that campus? I won't call the name. Some of you know it. And folks could tell me where the local high school was, but they couldn't tell me where the community college was. A small town of 15,000? How is that? When I pulled up in front, it looked a lot like a high school. I want you to think about where we've come since that time. Today we have a president who stood at nearly every State of the Union address and talked about the work you do in community and technical colleges. Now, not everyone agrees with the proposals in total, but isn't it pretty nice to have the President of the United States call out the work that you're doing? Why do you think that is? Why do you think that Dems and Republicans, in fact, think about the American College Promise. The American College Promise, brought forward by the President of the United States, released as a part of the State of the Union. But where did the idea come from? A relatively conservative Republican governor from the South. What that tells me is what you do and what we do every day, it appeals to every part of the political continuum. Why is that? Because we change people's lives. It is the best investment a state or a nation can make, an investment in their people, and you are the ones who deliver on that promise. The reality is that the American dream is more alive today in community and technical colleges than it's been in any other place in our nation. The American dream lives in your classrooms every single day. If you don't believe it, look into the eyes of the next student that walks into your classroom. Look into the eyes of that student and see hope and opportunity for a better life. Think of the history of this nation. We have for years been the land of opportunity. And today, I tell you, our classrooms are the land of opportunity. Our classrooms are the place where people skill and educate themselves to be a part of the American dream. But our question comes back to great success, 110,000 students enrolled, 20,000 graduating students, our largest enrollment, our largest graduating classes, all this spotlight. Where do we go from here? What do we do next? What's the encore? The encore is pretty simple. We've got to pause for a second and ask the question, what is it that Louisiana needs from its community and technical colleges? Our discussion is not about what should Louisiana be doing for us. You see, a lot of folks are asking that question right now. A lot of folks are pointing to the sky and saying the sky's falling. The clouds are dark. Budgets are rescinding. The dollars are moving away from higher education. Instead, this organization, you, your leadership team, you're pointing forward to what we should be doing for the state of Louisiana. That's happening in a plan called Our Louisiana 2020. You see, we spent about 4 months and we went around and we had conversations with business leaders and government leaders from all over Louisiana. And we asked that very fundamental question. What is it that you need from community and technical colleges? What is it that the people of Louisiana need from your community and technical colleges? And you know their answer? Their answer was consistent, and it's one that you already know. It was workforce, workforce, workforce. So we came back, we took that information, we had a chance to sort of scroll through it a bit, and you know what? Your leadership team, your chancellors, your board, this group wasn't scared. Instead, they looked at the opportunity that exists in Louisiana today and knows that we are the answer. The work that goes on your campuses and your classrooms every day, that is the answer to the question, what is it that Louisiana needs more of? And so in Our Louisiana 2020, we formed a public agenda, an agenda that is a promise to the people of Louisiana. I want to go through those 3 key words. 2020, 6 years out. We need some time. We've got to begin to focus on where it is that we're going. A little bit of runway, you might say. 2020 is a nice round number. Number 2, Louisiana, because it truly is about our people, our state. What is it that you want the state to be? We have an opportunity to recreate it. We've started that work. Let's finish it. And finally, our. We could have just simply said Louisiana 2020. But we didn't. It's ours. It's yours. It's mine. It is our Louisiana. We own it. Not only do we own the state, we own the problem. We own the solution. We own the opportunity to make Louisiana a better place than it's ever been before by investing in our greatest natural resource, our people, the people of Louisiana. This board stood in October and literally, member by member, took a vote and stood beside their chair to say, I stand behind this plan. This board is solidly behind you. This leadership team is solidly behind you. And so the question today becomes, what did we learn in that process of digging in and asking that question? And how do we go forward to ensure that we execute on that important plan to Louisiana? Let's talk about what we learned. Let me back up for a second. I'll recite the goals. I think most of you have heard them, but we'll walk through them one more time. Number 1, most important, completion. Last year we had 20,000 students who completed a college education with us. That number has to double, from 20,000 to 40,000 Louisiana students completing college education within community and technical colleges all over Louisiana. But not just any degrees, not more general studies degrees. Instead, we need students completing degrees that are in demand. In demand degrees. Point number 2, double the earnings of a graduating class. This past year, scrolling back to 1999, we had a class of students that graduated that in the year 2000, they earned about $150 million in the Louisiana economy. This past year, the graduating class from 2013, they earned over $720 million right here in Louisiana. And so our task is to double that number, to see a graduating class that completes at our colleges and earns over $1.5 billion in a year. Think of the impact, not at a broad scale of $1.5 billion, but think of the single parent with 2 kids at home. Think of the impact that it has for those 2 young people. Think of the change in life that it has for those young people. Because oftentimes the difference between a college education and none is things like reliable transportation for mom. It's things like quality child care to make sure that our kids are taken care of while we're making a living. Some of the basics that we take for granted, That's what we're talking about. You know, when we ask industry the question, how do you measure quality? How do you measure quality of our completers? We thought we might hear things like accreditation. We thought we might hear things like standardized curriculum. We didn't hear any of that. You know what we heard? If we pay them, they're quality. If we pay them, they are quality. There's some folks in higher education and perhaps some in this room who aren't comfortable with that concept. I got news for the rest of higher education, not just in Louisiana, but nationally. We can have all the metrics that we want. Until we have a metric that matters to the student who walks through the door and says, I'm here for a better life, I'm here to earn a living for my family, we'd better stand back. Graduation rates may be great for some folks, but you know what our metric is? Our metric is putting people to work. Our metric is what we're doing for the people of Louisiana. $1.5 billion in an annual payroll of a graduating class. Goal number 3, quadruple the number of students who move from 2-year colleges to 4-year institutions. Transfer students. Let me tell you, there are 2 primary goals here. Number 1, just like we articulated a minute ago between the folks at Nunez and the University of New Orleans, every single person in this state must know it is possible to start and finish a bachelor's degree by attending a 2-year institution and a 4-year institution. It is absolutely essential. Now, you may say that in your community people know that. Maybe they do. But like many of you around this room, I've had a chance to travel the state, and I know for a fact that there are many people who don't have that option today in Louisiana. Your zip code shouldn't determine your ability to complete a bachelor's degree. You have to have access to 2-year college education that allows you to move on to a university. Until that happens, we will not stop. The next point that's so important to transfer. Many of your alma maters, mine included, cannot survive the current fiscal environment in the state of Louisiana without transfer students. It is incumbent upon us to produce transfer students to help the long-term fiscal health of our universities. We have a responsibility to them just as they have to us. Some get it, some haven't gotten it yet, to be quite frank. But we've got to continue to produce as many associate degree completing students moving on to bachelor's degrees as we possibly can. It's in the best interest of the people of Louisiana. Next, in order to do those 3 things, we have to double the number of students that we touch. Last year, about 165,000 students touched in Louisiana's community and technical colleges. 110,000 credit enrollments, about 30,000 students enrolled in adult basic education programs, and about another 30,000 students in workforce non-credit training. Now, as you begin to do the math on that and you think about all of those students, we have to double that number to about 325,000 students every single year. That's a huge task. But I can tell you this, we won't get to those first 3 unless we're focused on getting more students in the front door. It will require that we drill down and understand populations in a way that we've never understood them before. You see, we spent years focusing on the 40,000 students who complete high school every year. Let me assure you, we will not meet the needs of the workforce needs in Louisiana with 40,000 high school students every year. If you're an admissions officer or if you're a recruiter and you're spending 8 out of 10 hours a week in a high school, you're in the wrong place. We want you in the high schools. We want to send the right message. But let me tell you, that's not where enrollment will come from long term for community and technical colleges. We will get our share of high school students. Louisiana has thousands, hundreds of thousands of adults without a college education. We've got to meet them where they are and help educate them. Goal number 4, quadruple the business partnerships. You've seen that demonstrated here in your conference theme and the people who've been on the stage. There's a great deal of work remaining to be done in partnerships, moving from about 250 real substantive relationships between our colleges and industry partners to over 1,000 a year. Now put that in perspective for a second. There are over 90,000 incorporated businesses in the state of Louisiana. 10,000 of those hold about 95% of the state's employment base. 10,000. What we're suggesting to you is that every single year, our colleges should have 1 in 10 businesses in a real substantive business partnership on your campus, at the organizations that we're serving, a substantive relationships. That means things like sharing curriculum, serving on committees that allow us to be able to think through future curriculum. That means serving on hiring committees. That means contributing equipment, contributing their time and their resources. And yes, hiring our graduates. Internships for students. It's all of those things. I want to thank the folks on the workforce side, Charlie Freeberg and others who have done an extraordinary job of helping us to define this metric. It is the lifeblood and the future of our institutions to know where industry is headed. We can no longer afford to be institutions where students come to find themselves. You know what I mean by that. I showed up at Louisiana Tech University lost as a goose. I told you the story. I showed up as an engineering student because I thought that's what I could be. I had to find myself. I'm glad the institution had that ability to help me to find myself. On that very first day when John Price stood in that lecture hall and I saw the passion that he had for political science. I didn't know what political science was, but I knew I wanted to major in it. I knew that's what I wanted to do because if he could be that excited about it, I could be that excited about it. That's how you as faculty members change the lives of students every single day. That passion and the program development comes back to our relationships with industry. It's where it all begins. And then finally, we didn't set forth this public agenda and say to the state of Louisiana, if you give us $200 million, then we can go out and do these things. That's not what we said. Instead, we recognize that we have to go out and raise resources on our own. And so our goal, to double the foundation assets from about $25 billion this year to over $50 million by 2020. We have to do for ourselves. Let's face it. None of us like the policy direction, the fiscal direction that we are headed in the state. It's unfortunate. We'll continue to fight every single day to make sure that we have the resources to deliver on the mission. But the reality is there is a substantial direction, not just in Louisiana, but across this country, of eliminating state funds from post-secondary education and moving more toward students funding a larger and larger share of the total. It places extraordinary pressure on you and on me to develop the right programs that deliver value for our students. So as tuition rises, what is it that value brings for a student? Again, back to business partnerships and back to our ability to raise our own resources. Those are the 6 goals. So what did we learn along the way? What we learned is this. When we heard people say, workforce, 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 we had to go back for a second and ask, why in the world are they saying the same thing to us over and over again? And so we went back to the workforce pool that we have to draw from in Louisiana. 4.6 million people, that's you and I. 2.3 million of them are working age adults. Again, you and I. Let's break that 2.3 million out by the total. 670,000 Louisiana adults with a college education, from certificate to doctoral degree. 670,000. What happens below that? 530,000 people in Louisiana with a high school diploma, some college, no credential. According to Lumina a few years ago, Louisiana had the highest some college and no completion per capita in the nation. You tell me that this is a group who already went to college, didn't finish an award, got some credits already out there. Doesn't that sound a lot like a target population to you? Doesn't that sound a lot like the folks we should be going after? And oftentimes, those are the students who are showing up on our campuses. The third group, 525,000 students who completed high school and never went to college. At the time, they didn't know college was a prerequisite for a middle-class lifestyle in Louisiana. And so they made decisions in life that didn't place them on a college campus. Oftentimes, what you'll hear them say is this: college isn't for me. College isn't for me. You ever heard that? I just bristle at it. College isn't for me. You want to know the reason why so many people say college isn't for me? Because we have defined college oftentimes in such a way to limit people's access. I get fighting mad because I want you to think about the impact for that individual and their families and generations to follow them. College isn't for me. Really? Where do you go from here if college isn't for you? What do you do? Tell me the job you want if college isn't for you. We're in a room full of people that college was for you. College was for you. In many ways, you're the proselytizers. You're the folks who have the opportunity to go out and tell the story that, yes, indeed, college is for you. It does work for you. It will work for you. It must work for you. The final group, 600,000 people in the state of Louisiana with no high school diploma and with no college experience. I want you to just pause for a moment and think about what would your life look like if you were one of those 600,000 with no high school diploma and no college degree. I want you to think for a second about the profile of those folks. You see, when I have these discussions with some folks, their immediate response is, most of those are in prison. Most of those are infirmed. No, they're not. Most of those live next door to you. Most of those are the folks that you run into down at Walmart. Most of those are the folks that you run into at the Little League ball fields. Those are the people of Louisiana. They're your neighbors. They're my neighbors. They're your sons and daughters. They're your kin people. Can you think of any of those folks? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You see, we've created a structure in this nation that shuts people out of education. We have to do a better job of making sure that people understand that they're not only welcome, they are necessary. They are necessary to make this nation what it could be. 600,000 adults in Louisiana without a high school diploma. You ever seen someone drop out of high school? Some of you have K-12 experience. You've watched that happen. You know there's a form. It's a half-sheet form. They don't even spend a full sheet of paper on it. A half sheet of paper. When the student checks out, why are you dropping out? How many students do you say, I couldn't get fractions. I don't get algebra. Common usage, I'm past it. None of them. Very few do you have check that box and say, academics are the reason that I can't finish high school. Their reason for not finishing high school is social, it's personal, it's economic, it's emotional, psychological, it's family life circumstance. And so what is it that makes you believe, if you do believe, that those folks don't belong in college? Family circumstance means that you don't belong in college? We've reinforced that message for far too long, folks. This great state will not be what it could be without the adult education populace involved in our colleges, educated, trained, and going to work and providing for families right there in our institutions. Now, why is that so important? Because here's the real issue. When you stack those 2.3 million people alongside the jobs that are available come 2016, here's what you find. 84% of the jobs in Louisiana in 2016, I didn't say 2030, I didn't say 2025, I said 2016, less than a year from right now, 84% of Louisiana's jobs will require a college education or an industry-based credential. 84%. Louisiana has 2 million non-farm jobs. 2 million. 2.3 million people, as you working age adults, as you just heard. I want you to think about how that math works out. If you've got 600,000 people with no experience, no high school diploma, no college experience, that's a tough one. That's a tough one to float in this economy. You know, part of the passion that I bring to community and technical colleges is born out of my own experience. I told you the story of the first gentleman that I interacted with in my adult education experience in Arcadia, Louisiana. He walked up and he said, I'm here to get a GED, you remember? And my response to him was, okay, let's go get us a workbook. Let's go get us a Steck Vaughan workbook and start working through some math problems, right? For those adult educators in the room who've been around a while, you'll remember those days. 8 weeks later, he finishes. His kids show up. They're all proud of Pop. He'd been cutting pulpwood all day, by the way, when he walked in at 7 o'clock into that adult ed center. When he crossed that stage and he got his high school diploma, he was so proud, wearing the green robe. That was on a Saturday. What did he do on Monday morning? Monday morning at 7 o'clock, he was holding a chainsaw. He was cutting pulpwood all over again. I failed him. You failed him. We failed him. We told him that if you got a GED, that life was somehow going to be better for his wife, for his kids. What did we sell him short on? We sold him short on the American dream because we told him that it was about a GED. To our friends with a high set, we love you. We want to do more of it. But let me tell you, it's about a skill set that puts people to work, that gets you to the American dream, that gets you to the middle class. that accomplishes what it is that you want for your students and I want for my students. I want to tell you a couple of stories. We have in our presence tonight what is an amazing story. And I'm going to try to do this without embarrassing this individual and ultimately without shedding any more tears, because I'm prone to do that, as you guys know. You can laugh, it's all right. We have a faculty member at one of our institutions who immigrated to this country maybe 8-10 years ago. I may have the time frame a little off. But when she came to this country, spoke broken English, didn't have any evidence that she completed high school or the equivalent of high school in her country. She came to this state, here in Louisiana, a completely foreign world to her. The cultures are different. And she shows up at North Shore Technical Community College. And she goes on to earn high school equivalency. While she's there, she enrolls in a computer science program. She learns a programming language. You see, she had the ability to do college-level work. In fact, she then was hired by a local firm where she was the CIO of that firm, the Chief Information Technology Officer, straight out of North Shore Technical Community College. Ultimately, she leaves that role and goes back to North Shore Technical Community College with more education, and today she serves in the role as a faculty member. A faculty member at one of our colleges, teaching computer science. I want to pause for a second and call her out, and hopefully she'll stand, and if the folks with the spotlight can find her, I'd really appreciate it. Hanan Carlton, faculty member at North Shore Technical Community College. Stand for us, all the way in the back. What an amazing story. What an amazing story. That is the American dream, right? People come from all over the world for what we have access to right here in this great country. You see, it's also personal for me because there are other stories. There's a story of students who, I guess maybe it was fall 2001, when Louisiana Delta Community College first started, 267 students. Kind of crazy that you'd remember that number, right? But you do. You remember because there were 267 people who showed up at the door that day with a hope and a dream. 267. Some of you will remember that was out at the Delta Ouachita campus, out on Camp Road, middle of nowhere. Middle of nowhere. 267 students. One of those students went on to earn a nursing degree. Today practices a nurse right here in Baton Rouge at 2 different locations. I live with that lady every day. My wife, Kelly Sullivan. Proud of you. I had a very special thing happen this past year as my oldest daughter graduated from Delgado Community College. Shout out to the PTA program there. Commencement addresses are a lot of fun, right? I've done a lot of them over the years, but let me tell you something. You go to a commencement address where it's your son or daughter graduating, get out the way. Give me some Kleenex, because I am about to cry, y'all. I get emotional talking about other people's kids, much less my own, right? That was a hoot. It really was. To watch that kid grow, to just take off, it's been a lot of fun. So how do we get there? Let's go back to that Our Louisiana 2020. What is your role? How do you help to drive those numbers? First of all, let me tell you this. You know what your chancellors have done? Your chancellors have embraced the goals of Our Louisiana 2020 in such a way that they've said, we want every single year to bite off another part of the whole, another part of the whole, another part of the whole. And so each year, we sit down at the table, and the performance evaluations for our chancellors, you know what it comes back to? 6 goals, the very same goals we just talked about. These chancellors are serious. We know that this is what we must do for the people of Louisiana. And so today, let's talk about your role and how we get that done. Number 1, the first principle, targeted investments. Targeted investments. You've already seen it. You've already seen targeted investments. Our WISE funds, our rapid response funds, our Perkins funds. We're spending dollars in exactly the way industry needs us to spend those dollars. Now, for some of us, that's uncomfortable because not all programs are funded. But you got to know that as resources become more and more slight, we have to be more targeted than ever before in how we spend those dollars. Next, innovations. We have to continue to innovate. Our sector is not old enough yet to be stuck in its ways. We're not old enough yet to be stuck in the way of the semester. We're not old enough yet to be stuck in the way of the limitations of distance delivery. We're not old enough yet to be stuck in the notion that the faculty member stands in front of the classroom and lectures to students and pours in information. We're not old enough yet that we can't begin to develop new structures for how we operate the business operations of our colleges. We're not old enough yet to be better, to transform every single day the business operations of our institutions. Next, purpose. Purpose. I will share with you the next proverb that is so important from my perspective. Walk with purpose. Have you ever seen the student walk down the hall that meanders, unsure of where they're going? And you have to stop and say, hey, can I help you? Have you seen the student that walks down the hallway with their shoulders pulled back, their chest thrown out, and they're walking straight ahead? They know exactly where they're headed. Walk with purpose. I encourage you, as you think about these goals and your role in accomplishing each one of those, walk with purpose. It's Proverbs 4:25 through 26. It says, fix your eyes just ahead. Fix your eyes just ahead. Don't be distracted by the clouds. Don't be distracted by the detractors, but fix your eyes straight ahead. Give careful thought to the paths of your foot. You know, the reality is your board of supervisors and your leadership team has given careful thought to the path of your foot. And be steadfast in all your ways. Steadfast in all your ways. So as we begin to think about that journey that's ahead of us, careful with every placement of every step. We can't afford to miss a step. We have great opportunities ahead of us. Louisiana has a bright future. We have a bright future because of the work that you're doing. I ask you to bring focus. Focus in the sense that when you walk into your classroom in the morning, know that you have the person sitting in front of you that could be the next great leader of Louisiana. Know that you have the person sitting in front of you that you can and will change their lives. The focus that says that you can look at your operations and do better tomorrow than you did today. The focus to make our institutions more effective than ever before. I also ask that as we have chancellors in leadership roles, I want to remind you that every single person in this room has the ability and the responsibility to be a leader at your institution. I don't care what role you fill formally. You have a responsibility to be a leader at your institution. In your classrooms, I remind you, your students will remember you. Just as Dan Bournet said earlier, your students will remember you. They will think about you when they get to that first job. They'll think about you in their 20th year of that job. They'll think about you at their retirement from the job that you set them on the path for. Take that responsibility as you should. It's a heavy weight, but you have it. You see, Louisiana today is the perfect place. Yes, we have our challenges, but I want you to imagine for a second that of the 50 states, we've got a community and technical college system that is on a tremendous trajectory. Enrollment growth, award completions, setting the pace nationally for things like innovation and entrepreneurship. That's what you are doing. We also live in a state with tremendous economic opportunities, businesses investing every single day. Would you want to be anywhere else? Would you want to be doing any other work than the work that we have before us today in changing the face of Louisiana, our Louisiana 2020? Folks, it has been a joy to be with you today. I cannot wait to see what you and we will create in Louisiana in the years ahead. God bless you. God bless Louisiana. God bless this great nation. Thank you very much.